Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event. I'm Pascal. As you guys know, you're following our page. So today's been a good week, especially a good day. Finally closed on one of the properties I've had for sale. So it's a good day. If you guys been following on IG Live, you would have saw that big check or big wire that came through. So I was excited. It was a good day. What's up, guys? Good to see everybody again. All right, guys. It was a great day. How's everybody's day today? Awesome. So it was good seeing everybody again. Today's going to be a good event. We're going to get into your questions, talk about the property that I I bird the property, and then I recently just sold it. Actually, today was a closing. I got my wire sold it for $335. Got a wire for $320. It was good. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I'm glad it closed too. As you know, I've been selling a lot of properties, kind of getting myself ready for all the new stuff that's going to be coming next year. So, going pretty good. Someone asked, what do I think of the Airbnb stock? I think it should be okay. I think initially it's going to come out. Normally it's going to spike and then it's going to dip. So it'll be a good buying opportunity after the dip. Personally, I'm not a big fan of stock investing. I have stocks, but most of my portfolio, as you guys know, is in real estate. I think that's where you're going to make your money. Even if you don't have lots of money to invest, you can make a lot of money from investing in real estate. So I'd rather invest in real estate. But yeah, buying Airbnb stock after the initial spike and then buying a dip, I think it'd be fine if you're trying to add something to your portfolio. Are you familiar with real estate market in DC area? I do know the DC area is very expensive and cap rates are super compressed. So you'd get a great opportunity if you're going to go and flip that. If you're going to buy a property that's low and then upgrade it and then flip it. In the sense of rental returns, not that great. You're not going to make great returns doing it. So flipping a PS5, you would actually make more money flipping a PS5 though. I was seeing this guy buy one in the parking lot. I was going to try to buy it off him, but he already sold it to someone else. They're going for about $1,000 for a PS5 right now. $1,000. Where do you believe someone should start Where do you believe someone should start that wants to get into real estate with no prior background? The first thing you need to do is study your market. If you're going to go buy a car right now, you're going to go figure out what car you like, how much you're going to afford. You're going to figure out like what kind of features you like and what the cost is for each, if you're going to be a smart car buyer. So the same thing with real estate. You need to go and study your market and determine exactly what is going to be the best for your budget. And also, since you're not actually going to keep this piece of real estate, most likely you're going to rent it out to someone else, or you're going to sell it to someone else, you're going to flip it. You're going to figure out what does the buyer want, right? Because it doesn't really matter what you want, it matters what the buyer wants. So my dad would always tell me, oh, why are you going to do this? And why are you going to do that? And, oh, never buy this type of house and never buy that type of house. And I told him, I was like, I don't care if you're going to buy the worst, like, I don't know. I was going to say something. I didn't want to say it. But basically, one big thing that I don't like buying and I don't like keeping is wood houses, frame houses. And because there's usually lots of problems in a frame house that you do not encounter with a concrete block house. So he's like, why are you going to buy this frame house? Why are you going to waste all your time on this? And I told him, I was like, it doesn't matter what I want. It matters what the client wants. And if the client's fine with a wood house, a frame house, then I'm going to give him that. And if a client wants these finishes, the end buyer, I'm going to give him that. Now, again, I didn't know what the buyer wants, but I'm pretty sure I know what the market wants for this area. and I'm going to provide them those features. So if that's what they want, I'm going to give it to them. And that's how you make money. Tips for studying the market. What can you look out when you study? Literally just kind of constantly review properties that you want to buy, duplexes you want to buy, and see what they're going for. And then you'll know, you'll start getting an image from all the data you collect. So a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know what to look for. Most likely you haven't collected enough data. You haven't looked at enough properties. Someone DM'd me and said, Pascal, I can't find a duplex in my market. I've been looking for like 6 months now. My response was, you haven't been looking long enough. I don't find a good deal worth buying once every year. For a while, I didn't find anything worth buying for at least 2 years. So if you're not finding anything, especially since your area that you're looking to buy in is so small, then you're not likely to find anything once every 6 months. You're going to find something once every 2 years. So keep that in mind. Don't expect that it's going to, be there and it's that easy, because it's that easy, everyone would be doing it. So George says, hey, Pascal, congrats on the $320,000. Thank you. It's awesome. I'm going to be coming out with a YouTube video regarding how I bought the property. So it was my I-8 property. It was the duplex I bought. Instead of buying the I-8, I bought the duplex, and you had the duplex pay for the I-8. So I bought it. I rented it out. Basically a perfect BRRRR strategy. That money was used to pay for the payments on my I-8, and then still had a bunch of money left over. I sold it now 2 years later and got made about $104,000 profit, in addition to the $65,000 profit I made from the rent. And that's like net. So $169,000 profit from this one duplex over basically a 2-year period. And it's awesome. Long-term capital gains. So it's the reduced tax amount. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to roll this money into another deal. So it doesn't really matter how much I made. All right. Someone wants to go live. Let's see if I can help them out. Hey, what's up? It's all good. Enjoy the bus ride. I like it. This guy's on the bus. He's watching me live. He's learning. Got the headset on. That's what you got to do. 24/7. You got to keep on putting in, and you're going to be able to, get after it, get those real estate deals. It's really about that. You keep on surrounding yourself with that information, you're going to eventually do it. All right, guys. What's up, guys? What's up, Zachary? Jaden, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? I'm doing good.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the request.
No problem.
So I've been following you for a little bit, and I love what you're about. I love what you do. Congrats on your recent deals and your future deals, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm very new into the real estate game. I have no background, little money. My credit isn't that good, because when I was younger, I was an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was kind of wondering, like, what are some of your recommendations to someone with little to no money, not the best credit, wanting to get into real estate, and growing from there?
Got it. So let's, in your finances, like in my course, it talks about all the different things you need to prepare yourself into getting your first deal. Now, some people will focus on one thing at a time. The problem with that is you can't do one thing at a time, because if you're just focusing on your credit and you don't have the cash and you don't know your market, it's not going to work. You have to, or if you don't have the credit but you have the cash and you don't know the market, it's not going to work. So what you need to do is make sure that all of these pillars, you're working on everything, that you're studying the market, that you're working on saving up the down payment, that you're working on your credit at the same time. The next thing I want to point to you is that you don't need, some people will be like, I want an 800 credit score. and then I'm going to do this or that or the other. You don't need that. Minimum credit score you need is a 620 to get a loan. 620 is what you need to do for a refinance. Do I advise you having a 620? No. The higher your score, the lower your fees. The higher your score, the easier it is to get financing. So the point is, work on all of them, but don't get caught up. Oh, I have a 620, I can't. No, you still can. So work on your credit. See what you can do to make things better. Work on your down payment. Again, the down payment, minimum down payment is 3.5% down on a owner-occupied property. So you can find a duplex, owner-occupied property, 3.5% down. You can get a down payment assistance program. You can use that of your 401k. You can get a seller's credit for the down payment. So again, you're looking at a $300,000 property. That's $10,000 down, $5,000 in closing costs. That's $15,000. The seller gives you a credit of $10,000. That's $5,000. That's $5,000. That's not the problem, right? Now the property. The biggest issue is this. Remember, is that the loans are just tools, right? They're just a tool. Credit is just how cheap you can get the loan, but none of that truly matters unless you have an awesome deal. So I'm going to say, if you say, what is the most important of those three, is an amazing deal. Because if you find an amazing deal, you're going to be able to find the money. If you find someone came to me and said, Pascal, I found an amazing deal and this is exactly the type of stuff that you like and you're going to buy, and I don't have the money and I don't have the credit, how about I pass this deal along to you? Let's work out some type of deal. Either I cut them money for finding me the deal, or I cut them a percentage of ownership for doing the work, to bringing it in. So the deal is the most important. Knowing what's a good deal is the most important. From there, work on the cash, work on the credit, work on, having your tax returns look proper for financing. Work on all those things, right? Because it does take, most of the time when I review something with my clients, it takes about a year to get them in order. Sometimes it could be like 3 to 6 months, but it could be as long as 2 years. So it depends on where the person is in their life and what they have to fix. From the things you mentioned, it doesn't sound like it's done. Like, oh, I have too many hurdles. You don't have too many hurdles. The hurdles are all in our mind. Amazing things can be done in such short amount of time once we understand our market, study our market, and prepare ourselves to be successful. So it's a lot of options out there for us, and a lot of great opportunities going to be coming. So it's just important to get ourselves prepared. So little steps. So what detailed type of question do you have maybe that can help answer?
I mean, again, as a beginner in this, looking for good deals, as a beginner, where do you recommend, like, what kind of deals do you recommend getting into? What type of properties? I'm very green, so I'm still learning,
So if you were in the world of flipping stuff, you could flip a contract, because
I was looking into doing that as well. Being kind of like a title flipper as well.
Yeah, so like you can wholesale. You can do wholesale deals where you can and consign the contract. So the thing is, what you're saying, what you guys have to understand is, when you ask the question, I'm green, how do I get into real estate? There's a difference from me explaining real estate to someone that's green. If someone was in the business of flipping, if you're Gary Vee and you go, to all of these garage sales and you flip a jersey, I would tell him, okay, you got used to flipping a jersey. You know that jersey's undervalued and you're going to resell it online and make, buy it for 10 and sell it for 100. Flipping real estate's no different. You're just going to get the contract. Instead of buying the jersey, you're going to sign a piece of paper that the person promises to sell you that jersey. And then you don't even buy it. You just sell that piece of paper to someone else and have them buy the jersey for you, and you just get your cut. And instead of you buying it for 10 and selling it for 100, you're gonna buy it for 10 and on paper, sell it to someone else for 20, and you just get the difference, and you never use your own money. Now, if you wanted to go all the way from buying it to selling it, that's normally a different model in the sense of you're going to go and you're going to do the rehab yourself. So I'm buying the jersey, I'm cleaning it up, it might got some stitches that need to be done, and then I'm going to resell it on eBay. So that's not wholesaling. That is actually, that's rehabbing a property. So where you would say is, Pascal, I don't have a skill in construction. I don't know anything about construction. Well, then I would say, that's a lot for you to learn. You can learn it, but it might be a lot for you to learn. So how about you just go and just start wholesaling contracts?
Yeah, that's what I was actually looking into. There's so many people on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube that are selling all these different programs and stuff. So I don't know exactly where to start.
Mm-hmm.
I know once I do get into something, I'm just going to go 100%. So I don't want to kind of go the wrong route. So that's why I've kind of been following you. And another person that I've been interested in following is I don't know if you know Tomar Cross.
I've heard of the name, and he's out of Texas, right?
I believe he's out of Texas. Yeah. And what his business is he helps people really learn how to get good at flipping properties that way, wholesaling them. But again, I don't know much about the real estate game at all. So I've just been doing like little research here and there online and figuring out where I kind of want to start in, because I do know that, that's what I want my end game to be. And it's funny you mentioned kind of like flipping stuff on eBay. That's also my business too. I'm in the car industry. So I buy and sell parts and cars, and I flip parts and cars.
Yeah. And that's actually the other analogy, because normally I give people the analogy of buying and selling cars. Before you buy a car, if someone says, oh, what's the best car to flip? Well, there really isn't a best car to flip. There is more like you understand what's the market likes, and then you understand it's not a best car to flip. It's just, well, in this city, I'm not going to go buy and flip Bentleys. They don't buy Bentleys. So, well, I'm not going to buy that. And then normally Bentleys don't work. But if I'm going to go and do a Toyota, Corolla, Camry, a Honda, an Accord, a Nissan, generally, all the time, there's someone looking for that. So I'm going to be fine with it. But people like these cars, so the margin for these cars aren't maybe the best. I'm just throwing out an analogy that's maybe not accurate. But where, where maybe another car where you're like, I would never keep this car because it would be not a great car for me to keep. It's not great. The reality is it might have great margins, where that's the car you buy it for $2,000 and resell for $5,000. It depends. Where the answer to that comes from studying your market. By studying the market, you'll know what they want. So when you know what they want, then you're going to provide it. So for example, you might start doing these deals, and you might find a lot of deals that have like 10% margin in them or 20% margin. And you're going to start realizing, I'm not going to want that deal. I need at least 40% margin. Because if you're going to add $5,000 on top of this deal, well, I need enough room to actually fix the property up, list it for sale, pay the real estate agent fees, pay the closing costs, and then have something left over. But if I'm going to get a 200, where am I going to put any margin to do anything? It's not there. So it has to be, you're picking up this property for maybe 130, and then we're putting in 30,000 into it, and now we're paying $10,000 in closing costs. So by the time I'm done, I've put in, 2-3 months of work, and I made, $20,000. Then it makes sense. Now, okay, well, why would you do all that work, Pascal? Well, because if I have enough money and I'm pulling 2 of these a month, I'm making $40,000 a month from that. I don't need to worry about speed. I can work on doing it slower and pulling out larger sums of money. So when people like say, oh, this is the best thing or that's the best thing. There is no best thing. It is determined on the person's skill set and their desire, because the people that are going to be good at wholesaling deals have a certain skill set. They can negotiate very well with buyers and sellers, and that people that usually do well with the flipping side of the business, where they're repairing the property and getting it ready for resale, they're normally good with the creative. They're good with actually their hands. Maybe they're good with a different set of skills, or they just enjoy the process, right? So it's all dependent on what a person is about. What is their happiness, right? I was top of my class in stock investing. I don't really invest in stocks. It's just not my joy. I prefer real estate investing. I prefer to be able to have control over my investment, and for me to determine how successful it's going to become.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's great seeing you.
You too. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. See you next time. Great questions. Great questions. So, all right. So Teen Ambition says, favorite part of my Wednesdays and Sundays is when Pascal is live. Thanks, brother. George says, in a city like New York, would focus more on the high-end areas with relatively cheap rents, or areas close to those high-end areas that are cheaper than the average rent of the high-end area? So normally, if you're saying, would you focus on undervalued areas? Yes, I would focus on undervalued areas and undervalued properties that are either highly desired or next to the highly desired areas. Be careful. Warning. Do not invest in, say, like there's a street. One side of the street has expensive homes and the other side of the street doesn't. Now, if that other side of the street, the cheaper side, is possible for it to also go up in value. Possible. But if the cheaper side doesn't have, say, for example, say the cheaper side has a bad school zone, it's never really going to be as good as the expensive side, because the limiting factor is, or the positive factor of the more expensive side is the good school zone. If the other side of the street doesn't have the good school zone, it won't matter. You know, upgrading is not going to make a difference, or it's going to make very little difference. So find out if you're going for the side or going the part of town that is lower priced. Be careful that there isn't a reason that it's lower priced. George also says, "Are you buying the GTR now that you sold the building?" No, I'm not yet. Honestly, I'm really happy with the cars I have now. I have two toys right now, and I'm gonna be waiting because I think some really good deals are coming up, and I want to be able to buy as many as possible. George also says, what is your view on real properties? What approach would you take to find such a property, and would you suggest to find a broker in a city like New York? I would say yes. Find brokers, find bankers, and make connections, because if there's properties that are going to come up for sale and they're going to be distressed, you want to know about it. Relationship. This is a big relationship game, guys. All right. Hi, Pascal. Greetings from India. How are you? I'm doing good, brother. How are you? All right. So Dragon says, if I'm looking to burr, should I wait until the market crashes? You can buy real estate in any market. So if you ask me, Pascal, are you willing to buy something today? The answer is yes. I am willing to buy something today. It's needed to have the proper margins for me to buy the property. So the numbers need to be there. If the numbers make sense, I'm buying. It doesn't matter what market it is. So I'm looking to make some moves, and I'm going to continue looking to buy. So I'm just waiting for people to sell me those deals I want to buy. There's some properties I'm looking to buy right now, and I'm making offers. They're off market, and they're just not ready to sell. So if the market is going to crash, should I wait 6 months to buy my first property? If you're not getting an amazing deal, yes, wait. It's all contingent about you finding an amazing deal. For example, there was a property that's 8 units that was about $800,000. If that person said, "Hey, Pascal, I'll sell you the property," I'll buy it. But if they come back and say, "Well, Pascal, I'll sell you the property for 1.1 million," I might not buy it. At 800, it's a good deal. At 1.1 million, it might not be a good deal. Connections are definitely important. All right. So next question is, do you like to buy out of state, or do you prefer your rentals to be in the same state as you? So there was research done on the Real Estate Guys radio. They brought in some researchers, and they said the three best areas to buy in is Arizona, Texas, and Florida. And they said specifically Austin, Texas, and Tampa, Florida. I'm in Tampa, Florida. So since I'm in the top three places in the country, I don't need to buy outside. Now, if you're in California, you're probably going to buy in Arizona. If you don't have connections in Arizona and you have connections in Texas, Austin, or if you have connections in Tampa, you're going to buy in those markets. So the answer is you want to buy where the deal is. That's what's important. And where the market also is, Texas, Arizona, and Florida are landlord friendly. So it's easier to do business in these states than you would in California, New York, New Jersey, Chicago. What software system do you use to find your diamonds in a rough? There is no software system. I mean, you will use Zillow to see what's for sale, and you can use Zillow to see what is what's sold. Check pictures to see the conditions that they're in, but there isn't a software program that says this is a good deal. Zillow will give you an estimate saying a property is worth 300. Well, if you're going to buy it for 200, then you probably got a good deal. The issue is Zillow does not know the condition of the property, what it looks like inside. So if they're saying it's 300, they're probably meaning 300 in good condition. But then if you go inside and like the kitchen caught fire and now it needs to be fully repaired, well, the property isn't worth 300. It's probably only worth 200. Then you have to determine how much is it going to cost me to remodel this kitchen. Then you find out, wait, it's not just remodeling this kitchen. The wiring for this house is bad. I got to rewire this whole house. So now you go from, let's say, a $25,000 remodel to a $100,000 remodel, and now you broke even. So it's important to do that research, to walk through. And the great part of this is you don't have to know all of this. If you find a property that you want to buy and it needs repairs, you can bring a GC with you, and the GC will tell you what's likely it's going to cost to fix it. And then whatever they tell you, add about 25% on top, because normally it's wrong. Something else is wrong, and you have to spend additional money to fix it. I've been doing everything you said. Refinanced my primary, paid off my credit cards, and I'm stacking like a madman. Awesome. Remember, guys, when you want to refinance your homes, contact my company, Eastlake Mortgage, and I'll be happy to help you refinance your home or purchase your next 1 to 4 family deal. We're currently in 10 states, so DM me, We'll be happy to help. We also do taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll across. Create your LLC. We can also help you create your LLC as well. What is a GC? GC is general contractor. General contractor simply is the of the construction site. They're going to manage everybody. They're going to make sure everyone's licensed. They're going to pull permits. They're going to get all that done to make sure your project gets done. They are basically just a manager, a project manager. You're also in the mortgage game. Awesome, bro. It's a good business to be in. Jenny Emmanuel, add you. Add me, please. You have to request to go live for me to add you. What is your favorite hook line when talking to sellers on potential burrs? Well, I don't need to give them a hook line to talking to potential sellers on burrs. Like, they don't need to know I'm going to burr the property. It's not really all they're cared about is you're buying the property. So there's not really a hook line to convince them to let you burr the property. George says, would you get a mixed use building with a restaurant and 2-3 bedrooms in a price that makes sense and you can add value? Well, George, you basically asked me a question in such a way that the answer, I have to say yes. Like, would I buy a restaurant with 2-3 bedrooms above that I can add value and make a lot of money? Like, of course, yeah. Do I want a lot of money? Yeah, I'll take a lot of money. The question is, there's a lot of things there that are not being said. Like, what is it going to take the restaurant to get back in business? How long is that restaurant going to be closed? Because if you're in New York City and it's going to be closed for a really long time, you're going to be missing out on rent for a very long time. So when you're missing out on that money and you're going 2 years breaking even, that's a cost. And you have to account for that in your price, in your price that you're buying it. So you would have to buy the property, let's just say half price, because you're going to go 2 years without making any money because the restaurant's not going to bring you anything. And most of the time, when you're having a commercial piece of real estate, you have to upgrade it for the new renter, the new tenant. So that's added cost to your purchase. I'm asking, George says, I'm asking this because restaurants are a risky buy. So one of my mentors, he's worth a lot. Very humble guy, really knowledgeable. He buys restaurants. He buys restaurant buildings. So he doesn't own the restaurant. He just owns the building that the restaurant is in. Because he buys all these mom and pop restaurants, he knows that there's going to be a demand for them. So he buys them for 50 cents on the dollar. And he's not really too concerned that they're risky or could be risky because he got such a great price. So with risk comes return. Now, if you're taking on the risk, make sure you're getting a great return, right? So risk, return. If there's risk, make sure there's a return. All right. Will you ever transition from some big commercial projects? So the answer is yes. I'm looking at them now and I'm studying them now. So the question is, so Teen Ambition asked that question. So ambition, like, it depends when it comes. I'm ready. Are they going to come? One of the things I really want to do is I want to buy some commercial land and build some like warehouses. So I want to say buy an acre of land, maybe 2 acres of land, and build about 30,000 square feet of office, commercial, and they're going to be 3,000 square foot warehouses. And out of the 3,000 square feet, we're going to say maybe 300 to 500 is going to be office space, and the rest is warehouse. So people can be, say, working online or have an Amazon business and just be shipping, and then work out of their office for everything that they're shipping out. So I think that's going to be a great business. It's going to be recession resistant, and should make good money. And I think a warehouse is a lot cheaper to build than an apartment building. So I think the returns are definitely going to be there. It's about buying the land for a good price and making sure the land is in an area where there is people that are going to do that type of business. So maybe having that in the hood isn't the best idea, because there might not be people who are, selling on Amazon there. Now, normally, I'm finding that people more, not high middle class, but middle class, they're doing a lot of, business on Amazon and online. So they need the warehouses. So you're going to want to be somewhere close to where they live, or somewhere close to where you can have transportation in and out of all the products. So make sure wherever you're putting this this property is where your demographic is going to be. Same thing with real estate in general, right? You're going to build your property for the consumer. You're not going to tell the consumer what to get. The consumer is going to tell you what they want, and you're going to provide that product. So it's important to, again, provide what the market wants. Alan says, when first starting out in real estate, did you use a property management company, or did you run everything yourself? At what point and how did you go about building your teams? So Alan, I was only making about $8 to $12 an hour when I first started doing this, and I property managed it myself. And I actually never stopped property managing. We still property manage our own properties. So my business is this. Now, some people will have their main business and do this as a side hustle, or some people that I know are high net worth individuals are making 100, 200, 300,000 a year. It's a waste of their time to property manage it. They should get someone else to do it. But because I was making $8 to $12 an hour, I could do it myself, and that was my business. My business was to consistently grow. And again, by the age of 23, I had 23 units. I managed them all myself. And eventually, because I was making $12 an hour, $12 an hour is $24,000 a year. Well, property manager for 23 units is roughly $2,300 a month. That's about $5,000 a year. And so I basically washed my income. I could work for myself, just property manage it. Then on top of that, I would fix them myself too. So I was saving a lot of money doing that, and growing and growing and growing and doing very well. So eventually I did open up my accounting firm, paid other people to do stuff for me, but they worked for me. So I just kept growing my company. So that's why I have the construction company. We do all the repairs in-house. I have the property management, I have the insurance agency, the accounting firm, the mortgage company. We do everything in-house. They're all my people. So a lot of times when people actually talk to me online and then meet me in person, they a lot of times they think, because of how down to earth I am, they don't realize how big my company is and how many people work for me. So I was talking to a guy that works in Texas. He's a manager of a large insurance agency for a large company. And then we were talking about insurance agencies. He's like, "Oh, well, how many people you have working for you?" I'm like, "Well, I have like 6 to 8 people working in the insurance division." He's like, "Wow, that's a really large insurance office." And I was like, I guess so. I guess it's a decent size. I don't really consider it that large. He's like, no, that's very large. I didn't know your operation was that big. So my operation is pretty big. I try to, just be as down to earth as possible. I try to give the advice in a very simple manner where anyone can grasp it, because it is a very simple business. So yeah, our company is pretty large. How do you choose your contractors? Basically, when I communicate with them, if they have good communication and if I ask something, they do it, then I normally continue working with them. A lot of times I also go off of referrals, but communication. If they can do good communication, if they follow through, if I ask them to do something and they do it, we work together. If they don't, I don't continue working together, because I'm paying them to do what I want. And if they can't do what I want, then I can't work with you, because why am I going to work with you? Doesn't make any sense, right? So it's really not that hard. It's just important to kind of vet who you're using, get good references from them, and again, if they don't do what you want, let them go and get someone else. But just make sure you're not cutting big checks. It's important. Don't give them a big chunk of money and risk losing everything. Okay, it's important, right? Have control. So Teen Ambition says, I want to learn my market of Los Angeles, but I don't know in 3 years when I graduate high school if I'll even want to invest in Cali. So the good thing is this. It doesn't really matter if you're going to invest in California, if you're going to study the California market. What matters is you understand how to study your market. So if you do move from Cali and you go to Texas, you're going to know how to study a market fast. You're going to learn how to calculate the data. You're going to be able to, grasp the concept quickly. So now when I'm switching, for example, I'm talking about warehouses, right? I want to build warehouses. I've never bought a warehouse. I've never remodeled a warehouse. I've never rented to someone in a warehouse, right? I've never had that type of tenant before. But why am I confident about building warehouses? Because it's pretty simple. The land's going to cost this much. The construction cost is going to cost this much. A plus B equals C. So if I'm going to cost me a total of $1 million, I know that I need to bring in at least, a 1% rule, preferably. So I need to bring in $10,000 a month. If it's going to cost me $2 million, I need to bring in $20,000 a month. It's going to cost me $3 million, I need to bring in $30,000 a month. That's pretty simple, right? Next, I'm going to figure out expenses. Next, I'm going to figure out different things. There's all these little tiny, tiny details. But in general, you're going to understand the big things. And then for the small things you don't, if you're in the right position, you're just going to hire those out and they can figure it out for you. All right. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mr. Kyle, how you doing, man? Just first of all, thank you for sharing all the knowledge and expertise with all of us. I think I personally really appreciate it. I wanted to ask you something more specific to accounting. I think I saw a video of you speaking about that, and I wanted just to understand, make sure I was grasping it correctly. So I think you mentioned, like, myself, I'm an employee. I work in sales. I do make good money. My wife also works full time. Obviously, we make W-2 money.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question is, by me purchasing real estate and then leveraging the depreciation of real estate, that's something I can do to reduce my taxable wages on my W-2 income?
Yes. I have an accounting firm, so I'm more than happy to help you guys with the taxes. We have clients across the country. So, but simple answer is yes. So, you're going to have an investment into this property, and you're going to be able to write off the income of this property. So you buy the property. Let's just make the numbers simple. You bought a $100,000 property. You're making, $10,000 a year in gross revenue. You're netting, 2,000 of that money. 2,000 is profit. 2,000 is how much money you would have to pay tax on. It is considered passive income, so it's on the lower tax bracket, as passive income, and so it's going to be cheaper for you. Now, you're going to be able to depreciate a property, and you're going to get roughly, we're going to just make it simple, $3,000 of depreciation a year. So you're going to have a negative $1,000 on your tax return, and that negative $1,000 is going to go against your income.
Regardless of it's W-2 or it's, I guess, cash flow from the property you're selling.
Yes, regardless. Now, again, as a non-real estate, there's a term. I'm going to call it real estate.
I think professional.
Professional, yes. The cap is like 25,000
that you can't write off.
Yeah. So if it's over 25, you have to be a real estate professional, which is real estate license is a way. So if you got your real estate license, you would be able to write off more than 25,000. And if you put in a certain amount of hours,
right,
to qualify
that's
for some real
something.
estate
I think
professional.
I read something about if you spend 700 hours a year, that will consider you a real estate professional, even though
750.
You have a license. Yeah,
750.
Exactly. So if I were to do that, spend that, obviously we need to be tracked from my perspective, right? And then all the wages of myself and my wife, because we filed together, all the wages that we make through W-2 will be able to be, I guess, combined as a full business. Let's say we have 2 rental properties, which we leverage the depreciation, because obviously when you buy a house, you're going to buy a debt, but you're going to leverage the depreciation of the full asset, right? So if it has 300K, leveraging that 300K rather than down payment.
But when I gave you that example, when I said your gross income is 2,000, your net income is 2,000, but when you write off your 3, you only have a negative 1. The numbers are pretty close in the sense that your depreciation's good, but it's not amazing. It's usually amazing when you save up like 50K or 100K, you invest it in a syndication. That syndication gets an engineer to run a cost segregation model, and then that you're getting $30,000 in write-off for that year. Then you're gonna get big, or $100,000 in write-off. You put in 100, you got 100 written off year 1. Like sometimes it can be that way. On average, it's probably gonna be like, if you put in 100, you get 35,000 to 50,000 off your first year. Which, if you're making like 250 a year, and that extra, remember that it's the top 50 is what's being written off. So that top 50, if you're at a 35% bracket, you just saved $17,500 in taxes. Not only did you invest in an asset, you just saved $17,500 in taxes. On top of that, you moved active income to passive income, the higher bracket to a lower bracket. And you can constantly defer the taxes, almost like a 401k. Not the same as a 401k, but similar to a 401k, where you're pushing off the taxes to a future date. So you're rolling in money that's tax deferred at the time.
Because to add to that, and not to take a lot of time here, but if buying the properties, spending the hours, and in addition to try to let's say help my family, I'll say I'll hire my dad to be like the property manager, and I'll pay him as a 1099. I can actually, would I be able to pay him a good amount, and that will technically put me more at a loss, would eventually still reduce my taxable wages on my W-2 income?
Answer is no. You're making a valid point. So now this is the kind of catch-22 you're putting yourself into. One, yes, you could be writing off more of your money by doing that, right? But you have to qualify for a tax professional to write off that much. Where if you're investing in a syndication, your income the money you put into it, you're able to write off that money that's put in. So it's a little bit easier in a syndication model than you are in a personal investment model. Part two, under a personal investment model, what I mean by that, if you're buying a duplex in your personal name, you're on your Schedule E. Well, you're going to put on property management. How are you going to 1099 your dad? You're going to 1099 your dad from yourself to him? And how are you really going to submit that to the IRS? Part two, your dad's now going to be getting a 1099, and he's going to have to file that as a Schedule C income, which has, I think it's like 17% in Social Security and Medicare on top of income tax. And, then he has to write off his tax. I mean, it could be done. It could be done.
Yeah, it could be done.
It could be done.
It's better to do it that way than if you're just giving money as a gift, right? Because now I have to pay taxes as if I was getting gifted the money, right?
So you're asking certain questions that make me respond with, you need a consultation. Because you definitely need a consultation. Because you're asking that based off the questions you're asking, I know where you're going with all of this. And let's put it like this. The road, there's lots of options. There's lots of options to the tax code in any country is written to make the people of that country to act a certain way. So there's lots of ways to save money on your taxes, lots of it. The most important part is that you make sure that you function, you do every single thing that it's meant to be. And as long as you do everything right, you can legally write off almost all the money you make legally. But you have to make sure you're checking off every single box. And you don't want to leave any box not checked, because that only causes problems. So lots of options in the sense of, you want to get creative? Yeah, right. Pay your dad to be a property manager. Family can work together. I would not do it that way. I would put the properties in an LLC and then write him a 1099 for it from the LLC.
And you can have my brothers and I'm gonna reach out to you, make sure that we can have like a one-on-one chat and try to build this scheme. I live in Texas, so I think it's more favorable on my side. So
yeah, I mean, you're already avoiding state income tax, because there isn't a state income tax in Texas. It's favorable towards landlords. Austin, Texas was rated like one of the best cities to invest in, metros for real estate. Tampa, Florida was the other one, which is my metro. And I think Scottsdale, Arizona was rated one of the best metros for real estate investors. So lots of opportunities. And it's just really key that so most of the people's issue that I'm seeing now, not the starters. Let me clarify. A lot of people are starters in this business. The starters have a lot of money. They have to do what they do. They're going to get a 1 to 4 family, and they're going to put 3.5% down and all that good stuff. The people that have money, I was talking to someone today, and she's a broker, and one of her listings is $32 million. And she also owns a couple other businesses. So I don't need to know how much money she makes, but all I know is she makes a lot of money. I can know that. So she told me she owns a 3-plex, and she wants to go from a 3-plex to an 8-unit property. And I said, basically, I kind of like stopped her because we had lunch together. I stopped her at lunch. I was like, "You're going too small. You're wasting your time. You're not going to get enough tax benefit to really truly use real estate to your benefit. If you're making as much money as I think you're making, an 8-unit's not going to do much for you. You need like a 30-unit. And you need $100,000 write-off, $200,000 write-off.
Right.
You know, what's 20 grand going to do to you? 20 grand is going to write you off, let's just say $5,000. 5,000 is nice, but a $20,000 tax write-off is even better. You need to set yourself up for that type of success.
Yeah, well, for sure. I'm gonna be reaching out to you to kind of help me with that because I don't like paying taxes. So.
You know, I mean, remember this: you got two, as a citizen of a country, of any country, you got two options. Either you can help the country by giving them your tax money, or you can help the country by doing what they want, which either is providing jobs or providing housing. And if you do provide jobs and housing, the government's giving you tax credits, write-offs to reduce your tax to continue help the government do the job that's needed. So you don't have to pay taxes, just do what the government needs. All right.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Talk soon.
So, bye. All right. Bob had great questions. Bob had great answers. Great idea. So let's get it. Quiet on set. Quiet on set back there. All right. There was only one present you could get in the whole world, what present would it be? I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on live. Oh, geez. Oh no. Dear, I have $100,000, but I live in Pakistan. How business in U.S. How I come to U.S. You don't have to come to the U.S. to invest in the U.S. You can send your money and invest in the stock market. You can buy into syndications from overseas. You don't need to invest. You don't need to come to invest. How much does it cost for an LLC? So if you're going to pay like my company to create an LLC for you, it's $495 to create the LLC, which includes the registration with the state and getting the EIN number with the government. So it's $495, and then I think the state charges like $150. So, and it's the same amount of money if you go to like LegalZoom, but LegalZoom, you're going to basically try to do it all yourself on the computer. So it's actually a lot easier if you just have us do it for you, you know, and we'll worry about everything else. What is the best advice you can give to someone trying to start in the real estate, raising capital, as well financing for rental property? I'm going to say the most important thing is for you to study your market, because if you're studying your market and you find an amazing deal, capital is easy. If someone found an amazing deal and brought me the deal, I'm going to be like, all right, yeah, give it to me. I'll buy it. You know, here's some money. Thank you. I mean, it's really like when I first started, a lot of the things that you guys think is intimidating was intimidating to me too. Now, what I found out is that it's not intimidating, because as long as you have a good deal, a good offer, it sells itself. And when you know it's a good deal, your confidence is going to sell the deal. So really don't overthink it. Don't get intimidated. Just keep looking. And if you keep looking in an area, and if this type of property always sells for $500,000 and you for some reason found a person willing to sell it for $350,000, you're going to be able to make money on that deal, right? It's not rocket science, right? I just explained it. Wow, $500,000 for $350,000. Of course, that's a great deal. Yes, it's that simple. But if you're trying to go out there and you're finding deals that are worth $500,000 and you're getting them for $450,000, you're not really moving anybody. You're not exciting anybody for that, right? Very few people are going to be excited. There's going to be some, but you're going to feel not many. Now, if you get it down to $400,000, a lot more people are going to get excited. At $350,000, a lot of people are going to get excited. Just keep that in mind. I'm thinking of starting a holding company and putting all my investments in it and writing me a check as my salary and keep my profit in the company. Thoughts? I don't think that's a good idea. The reason why I don't think that's a good idea is because if you have investments and you're getting money from investments, Your investments are passive income, which are on the lower end, are lower tax bracket. So you're getting a low tax, there's low taxable income, lower taxable income. Now, if you're going to be paid a salary, that's active income. That's the highest tax bracket. That's the highest amount of taxes you're going to pay, because passive income does not have Social Security and Medicare. Active income, and you're a salary, so you're going to pay the individual and the employer's. That's 17% in tax extra. So why? Why pay 17% extra? There's no reason. Now, you can put it in an LLC to limit your liability, and the LLC can send you distributions, and then you'd still avoid Social Security and Medicare, but it's not needed for your passive incomes, for you to pay Social Security and Medicare on your passive income, which, if Biden does what he wants to do, he's going to actually make you pay Social Security and Medicare on your passive income. That's an extra 17% on a current. The current taxable amount on that is like 15, and it's going to be another 17 on top. So we're at like 32%. It's more than doubled. It's crazy. Yay. All right. 80 to 100K. What do you recommend to invest in the middle of a pandemic? Anything that's undervalued, has long-term strength? I mean, it's a very, very general question. I buy real estate. I have a little bit of crypto, have a little bit of stocks, but most of my money is in real estate. But I have a large chunk in cash right now, so just waiting for more good deals to come. Hub City says, talking about your commercial property, what's your opinion on owning an RV storage rather than a warehouse? If the area demands RV storage, then I would invest in RV storage. It depends if the area needs it. Depends if the area needs it. Thank you. So Anish says, thank you. Had some rental and that idea popped up. Thanks again. Saved me 17%. Laugh out loud. Now, again, you could put the rental income into an LLC and as a 1065 and pass that income over to you as an individual. I mean, that's possible for you to do that. And you won't have to pay that 17%. But the reason, you have to have a good reason to do it, because you shouldn't just do it just because. It could be just wasting your time. All right, guys, I'm going to answer a few more questions and we'll call it a night. All right, Brett's been following me forever. Brett says, why do you sell the building rather than build your empire? So, Brett, if I feel that I'm hitting the top of a market, like I've really squeezed out all the juice, what am I going to continue holding it for? Now, again, I'm going to bring in money. Well, I'd rather just sell it, take all of the money out. So let's just say I burned the property and just did a cash out refi and took out as much money as I could. I still have 30% left into this deal. I have $100,000 remaining in the deal. So why don't I just sell the whole thing and have all the money to be able to put into a deal? Now I can get even a bigger project and do it again, because I burned that property. Why don't I just do it again to another property? So because I'm looking to do bigger deals, better areas, and I already squeezed all the juice out of that property and maximized the value, that's why I did it. Fredos is like, you must have a good Christmas decorator. I do. Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Good. I asked a question in the YouTube chat, but I don't think you saw it. So I was just gonna ask it on here. Top tips the day you get your credit card.
So,
or to still habits, like the best habits to.
So one, try to get more than one credit card. I would say, so top credit tips. I don't want to say credit card tips. Let's just talk credit tips. Get more than one credit card. Each credit card is a person saying something good about you. And they're sending a letter every single month saying something good about you. So if you only have one card, you have one person saying something good about you every single month. If you have 2 or 3 cards, now you have 3 people saying something good about you every single month. So when people say, oh, it's bad to have 20 credit cards, that isn't accurate. If you have 20 credit cards and they're all paid off and all of them are saying something good about you every single month, that means that person with 20 credit cards has a stronger credit history than someone that only has 3. Now, I'm not telling you to go get 20 day one. I'm saying get 2 to 3 and pay them on time. And you do not need to hold credit on the card to build credit. Sometimes the credit card is not reporting to the credit bureaus because you don't have a balance. So maybe you'll need to hold a $20 or $50 balance and then pay it off. It's unlikely that you'll need to actually hold a balance and pay interest on that balance. So just keep on paying it, use it for gas, pay it off. That's it. In the rare scenario that the credit card is not reporting to the credit agency and you need it to start to, then you can spend, say, like $100 or $500 on it. Let it run for 1 month where you do have to pay interest, and then you end up just paying it off the following month. So then it could start kicking into reporting to the credit bureaus and it starts showing. Tip. If you're buying a car from a buy here, pay here, and you have a loan on that car, it is unlikely that that place is going to report it to a credit bureau. Unless you're getting the car loan from like a credit union, a bank, or a big dealership, it's unlikely that the car loan from the buy here, pay here is going to help your credit at all.
Okay. Great. I have one more question. Are you able to FHA more than once?
Yes, after 3 years of selling your previous FHA.
Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of confusion on TikTok.
Or refinancing your FHA to a standard conventional, then not owning a property for 3 years, and then reapplying for an FHA. It is difficult to get a second FHA when you have a first property. It is easier if you did an FHA loan, own the property, sold it, not own the property, and do another FHA. So, yes, but there's proper steps to go about it.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. Yeah, that's it for right now. Thank you for that credit tip. I will definitely be applying that when the time comes.
Well, actually, you can start now. You don't have to wait. You might need a cosigner right now, but you could start now. And sometimes if you have a secured card, you can start with the secured card. So there, some other options.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking into that. All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
See you later.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Guys, it was great seeing everybody. I wish you guys the best. God bless. You guys have a great night. And remember, if you need help with refinance your home, purchasing your first property, creating an LLC, taxes, bookkeeping, payroll, home insurance, auto insurance, my financial services company does it all. We're happy to help you, and keep us in mind. Soon the market will have a correction and we'll be buying a lot of properties. For people that want to invest, you guys are welcome to DM, and we'll look into partnering up. You guys have a great night. God bless, and I'll see you guys next time.